Absolutely. Here's a powerful, emotionally charged opening to your Separate Yourself speech, written in the style of Eric Thomas, raw, passionate, and direct, designed to grab your audience by the soul and make them lock in for the full message. Speech opening, Separate Yourself. Look, I ain't come here to hype you up. I ain't come here to entertain you. I came to talk to the one in the room who's tired of blending in. The one who's been playing small, the one who knows deep down they were built for something more, but somewhere along the line, you started dimming your light to make everybody else comfortable. You better hear me, separation is not selfish, separation is survival. Because if you keep running with people who don't want what you want, if you keep thinking like the crowd, moving like the crowd, living like the crowd, you gon' die in the crowd. And this message right here, this ain't for everybody. This ain't for the person who just wants to be liked. This ain't for the person who just wants to be seen. This is for the person who wants to become. This is for the person who is ready to break away from average, from excuses, from mediocrity, from the fake life they post, and finally become what they were called to be. So yeah, it's gonna be uncomfortable, it's gonna hurt, because separation requires sacrifice. You gonna have to cut some stuff off. You gonna have to stop negotiating with weakness. You gonna have to walk away from people you love if they keep pulling you down. But if you stay locked in, if you stay with me right now, and you really listen, I promise you, by the time this message is done, you gonna have the blueprint to go to the next level. Not tomorrow, not next year, now, so don't scroll, don't click away, don't get distracted, lock in. Cause this right here, this might just be the message that changes everything. Let's go. You keep wondering why they're overlooking you. Why you ain't getting the shot, why you keep getting passed over, why your name's not in the conversation. But here's the truth. You're hiding, you're trying so hard to fit in, trying so hard to match the energy in the room, you're shrinking. You're editing yourself down, you're toning it down just to be accepted, and let me tell you something right now, you can't win trying to be somebody else. You were never supposed to blend in, you were never created to be average, you were born to stand out. But you can't stand out when you're suppressing what makes you powerful. You keep asking for opportunities, but you're too afraid to walk in the room and let them see the real you. You're scared they won't like you, scared they'll judge you, so you wear a mask, you show them a version of you that you think they'll approve of. But that version, that watered-down version of you, that ain't the one that's gone win. That's not the one that's gonna change lives. That's not the one that separates from the crowd. You gotta own your difference. You gotta OWNIT, not tolerate it, not apologize for it, own it. That thing you think disqualifies you, that thing you're insecure about, that's actually your edge. That's what makes you real. That's what makes you necessary. See, the world don't need more copies. We don't need more duplicates. We need originals. And the moment you start walking like you believe that, talking like you believe that, living like you believe that, everything changes. You were built with a specific design, your energy, your mind, your pain, your process, it all has purpose. But you keep throwing it away because it doesn't look like what they got. You keep dismissing your gift because it's not loud like theirs, or smooth like theirs, or pretty like theirs. Stop comparing your calling to someone else's appearance. Stop measuring your value by their validation. If you want to separate yourself, you've got to embrace the very things that make you you. Let me tell you how I know. Because the moment I stopped trying to sound like other people, the moment I stopped trying to walk like other people, the moment I got tired of trying to impress people who weren't even on my level, that's when doors opened, that's when the world took notice. Not because I was trying to be accepted, but because I had finally accepted myself. You want to be chosen, then show up as someone worth choosing. You want to be respected, then respect your own voice first. You want to be remembered, then stop living like you're forgettable. It starts with you, with your confidence, with your presence, with your full, unapologetic expression. You don't have to ask permission to be powerful. You don't need a cosign to be great. You don't need to wait until they understand you, because real leaders, real visionaries, real difference makers, they were misunderstood before they were ever celebrated. You keep waiting for people to validate your greatness when in reality, you're supposed to walk like it's already done. You were built with something divine, something raw, something rare. Stop burying your greatness under fear. Stop putting a filter on your fire. The world is full of people playing roles. It's full of actors, full of clones, full of people pretending to be who they think they need to be just to survive. But you weren't built to survive. You were built to dominate, to disrupt, to inspire, to leave a legacy. But none of that happens if you keep hiding. You will never separate yourself trying to be like them. You separate yourself the moment you say, "This is who I am, and I'm done apologizing for it." That's where it starts. Everybody wanna shine, but don't nobody wanna grind in the dark. Everybody wants to be seen, but few are willing to disappear to become something real. See, people love the stage, they love the claps, they love the spotlight, but what separates the real from the fake, the winners from the watchers? It's what you do when nobody's looking. You think separation happens during the performance. No, separation happens long before that. It happens in the early mornings when that alarm hits at 4 a.m. and your body's screaming, "Stay in bed." It happens when your friends are out turning up but you're locked in with your goals. It happens when your bank account is empty, your energy's drained, your hope is low, but you still show up. That's when separation is born. That's where legends are built. In silence, in solitude, in sacrifice. You keep looking at what other people got, comparing their harvest to your grind. You're jealous of their success, but you didn't see their struggle. You didn't see the lonely nights they had to push through. You didn't see them getting up when nobody clapped, when nobody cared, when nobody believed. You didn't see the work they did in the dark, but you want to shine in the light. See, the grind is not glamorous. It's gritty, it's painful, it's heavy, and most people tap out before they ever get a taste of what it's like to live in their purpose. You can't microwave greatness. You can't shortcut the process. This ain't a highlight reel, it's a hard road. And if you're serious about separating yourself, you better fall in love with doing the work when nobody knows your name. You gotta be obsessed with the process, not the praise, not the perks, the process. Because the process is what makes you. The process humbles you, it molds you, it breaks you down to build you up stronger. The people who rise to the top ain't the most talented, they're the most disciplined, the most consistent, the most locked in. It's easy to grind when you're motivated, but the ones who separate, they grind regardless, whether they feel like it or not, whether the weather's perfect or the conditions are terrible. They keep showing up, they keep swinging, they keep building. Why? Because they know the work they do in private will eventually speak in public. You gotta stop waiting for someone to notice you before you start moving like a beast. You gotta stop thinking you need a crowd to go hard. There are no cameras in the weight room, no applause when you're running those extra miles, no trophies for staying up studying, strategizing, visualizing. But that's where championships are won. That's where greatness is grown, in the unseen, and don't you dare think you're owed something just because you've been showing up. This ain't about putting in a little work and expecting instant rewards. You might have to go months, years before anybody notices you. You might have to grind in complete silence, but every rep, every step, every tear you drop in the process, it's building something. It's preparing you for the moment when the lights finally hit. And when they do, you gon' be ready. Not lucky ready. So ask yourself right now, what are you doing when nobody's watching? Are you cutting corners? Are you only going hard when it feels good? Or are you locked in, locked down, doing the dirty work that no one claps for? Because if you keep showing up in the dark with the same intensity you would in the spotlight, eventually the spotlight will have no choice but to find you. But it starts with the discipline, it starts with the commitment, it starts with mastering the work when no one is watching. That's how you separate. You keep saying you want to be great, but you're still letting your emotions run your life. You keep saying you want to separate yourself, but you only move when it feels good. You only grind when it's convenient. Let me be real with you. As long as your emotions are in control, you'll never be in control. As long as your feelings dictate your actions, you'll keep losing to the version of you that settles. You cannot build anything legendary if you're always negotiating with how you feel. One day you're fired up, next day you're tired. One day you're focused, next day you're distracted. One day you believe, the next day you doubt. You're on this emotional roller coaster and you wonder why you're not getting anywhere. You're not consistent because your mindset ain't fixed. Your discipline is missing. Discipline ain't about motivation. It's about doing what needs to be done long after the mood you made the decision in has left. It's about showing up when the feeling don't match the vision. It's about keeping the promise you made to yourself when nobody's there to hold you accountable. That's where the gap is. That's why you ain't separate yet, because your execution depends too much on how you feel. You think the greats felt like going hard every day. You think they woke up excited every morning to push their limits. No, but they did it anyway. They trained their minds to obey their purpose, not their emotions. They got to a place where the standard was so high the feelings didn't matter anymore. They didn't need hype, didn't need sunshine, didn't need applause. They showed up because they said they would, period, and you gotta get there. You gotta get to a place where your identity leads your behavior, not your emotions. You gotta wake up and move like, this is just who I am now. I don't care if I'm tired, I execute. I don't care if it's uncomfortable, I grow. I don't care if it's inconvenient, I show up. That's how you take the power back. That's how you take control of your day, your progress, your destiny. You keep thinking discipline is a punishment. It's not. Discipline is your freedom. Discipline is the thing that liberates you from regret. It frees you from the cycles you've been stuck in. You tired of starting over, then stop quitting. You tired of living in the same loop. Then stop being a slave to your emotions. You tired of looking in the mirror and not liking what you see. Then get disciplined enough to change it. This ain't about being perfect. This ain't about being a machine. This is about being intentional. It's about not letting temporary feelings destroy long-term goals. It's about building a system so strong your mood doesn't matter anymore. You stop asking yourself, do I feel like it? And you start telling yourself, this is what we do, that shift. That's when you start to separate. You're gonna have bad days, you're gonna get tired, you're gonna feel frustrated, disappointed, overlooked. But discipline don't care about your emotions. Discipline cares about your actions. You want to grow. Then get up even when your body says no. You want to win. Then keep working even when your mind starts doubting. You want to elevate. Then keep going when your heart feels heavy. Discipline is not the absence of emotion. It's the dominance of purpose over emotion. Too many of you keep waiting for the right feeling, the right vibe, the right moment to act, but the truth is, you become right when you take action. The moment you stop needing to feel, it is the moment you take off. The moment you stop chasing comfort is the moment your climb begins. Every person who has ever separated themselves has made that decision to move in discipline, not emotion. Because once you master your discipline, your results stop being random, your success stops being a surprise, and your future stops being a question mark. That's how you separate. You keep saying you want more, but your standards don't show it. You say you're trying to win, but you're still living like it's optional. You want to separate yourself. You want to go to another level. Then you gotta raise your standards and eliminate every excuse that's keeping you from greatness. Because let's be honest, every time it gets hard, you start making excuses. I'm tired. I had a long day. I got too much going on. They didn't give me a chance. They don't support me. Listen to me, your excuses will never care about your potential. Your excuses don't care about your dreams, your future, or your legacy. They only care about keeping you comfortable, keeping you average, keeping you stuck. You can't want elite results while living with average effort. You can't say you want to be the best, but then settle for what's easy. You can't talk about separating yourself, but still surround yourself with habits, mindsets, and people that keep you in survival mode. At some point, you gotta get fed up with the excuses. At some point, you gotta raise the bar so high, the old version of you can't even survive in your new standard. You know what separates the elite. They don't accept less from themselves. They don't let their past dictate their pace. They don't care what they didn't have growing up. They don't care what's going wrong today. They don't waste time blaming, complaining, or explaining. They just do the work, they raise the standard, and they live by it, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. You want to separate yourself, then start expecting more out of you. Not them, not the system, not the opportunity. You stop lowering your standard to match your mood. Stop adjusting your work ethic to match your surroundings. The moment you raise your standard and say, "This is who I am now," the world starts to respond different. Not because it changed, but because you did, and don't just raise the bar, protect it. Don't let anything or anyone bring it back down. That means if the people around you don't want to grow, you might have to let them go. That means if your environment is toxic, you gotta start creating space where greatness can breathe. That means if your habits don't align with where you're going, you better break them before they break you. You don't have time to play both sides. You don't have time to be committed one week and casual the next. You don't have time to say you're serious about success, but then treat your calling like a hobby. If it matters to you, act like it. If it's worth your dream, it's worth your discipline, it's worth your pain, it's worth the sacrifice. And the only thing standing between you and the life you were meant to live is your willingness to stop settling and start demanding more from yourself. There is no growth in comfort. There is no greatness in excuses. You've been through too much. You've sacrificed too much. You've survived too much to still be living beneath your potential. You got something inside of you that's too valuable to waste, too powerful to hide, too rare to keep playing small. But it's on you to raise your life to the level of your gift. No more waiting, no more blaming, no more hoping things will change on their own. It's time to decide who you're gonna be, and then move like it, speak like it, work like it, live like it. Raise your standards, eliminate the excuses, and force your life to match your calling. That's how you separate.